I'm R.J. Lloyd. I'm Vice President and CFO. And I've known Rex for a long time. We attended school together and grammar school. I was practicing law in Boise, Idaho, when Rex came to me and said, "Hey, I need your help to sell my aloe vera." He then asked if I could become his counsel. And becoming his counsel meant a lot. I know that he was well aware of the benefits of aloe vera, and he spread that word worldwide. I want to thank Rex for the opportunity to help him build forever living products. I miss him greatly. He was a great friend and a great one to know.
Rex was a truly authentic man of faith. His relationship with God put him on a path to service starting in his youth and guided him onward and upward as he grew as an entrepreneur. His values never wavered, always put others first, led with passion, be forever grateful, and the core philosophies he lived by were the same ones he built his business around. In a world driven by ego, Rex had a passion for selfless acts. He was known to say, "Let's do the right thing first and worry about the money later." And he meant it. He was not one to take shortcuts if it meant doing harm. His faith drove his integrity, and he found the greatest joy in life through giving back to others.
Rex was a man of, if he understood it and got it and believed in it, then get out of the way, because it's going to happen. And he would figure out how to make it happen. My personal relationship with Rex and Ruth go back many years. And back in the days when we were at Brigham Young University, we were trying to determine exactly what we ought to do about strengthening and building up BYU television, which required significant resources to do. And when I was discussing our need and what we were trying to do with Rex and Ruth, Rex adopted BYU TV. And the amount of help and resources that Rex and Ruth have given to the Brigham Young University television efforts are almost unlimited. And frankly, the church deeply appreciates their contributions, not only there, but in the many other ways that they have done wonderful things. Now, I've been with Rex a lot of different places, and he is a man who, wherever you are, the person in front of him is automatically a friend. He is gregarious and outgoing and inquisitive. You can be with somebody, a total stranger, for a minute or two, and by the time you're getting ready to leave, 5 minutes later, we have all their family history almost. He's just a people person. There are not a lot of them that are as natural in that kind of a relationship and as good at it as Rex Maughan. I say that I've lost a very dear and a wonderful friend. But I'm 92 and we might turn pretty soon, I suppose, and we'll be friendly and about our Heavenly Father's work when I meet him on the other side of the veil. And Rex and Ruth, I say to you, you're a queen, and one of the reasons he was able to do what he did was because of his absolute support and love that you continually gave to him. So we say goodbye for a short season, and I say goodbye to a very dear friend. I hope the Lord's blessings, Ruth, will be with you and your family at this time. And again, I would be with you if it was possible. So thank you for letting me just make these brief comments at the services for my dear friend, Rex Maughan.
Faith was a consistent thread in his life, and it was faith that led Rex to his first grand global adventure that changed everything. If you asked a 19-year-old Rex Maughan to point to Samoa on a map, he wouldn't have known what ocean to start looking in. But there he was, in 1956, fresh off 1 year in college at Utah State, boarding the SS Sierra in the port of Los Angeles for a 12-day, 5,000-mile journey to the remote island in the South Pacific. Up until this point, Rex hadn't been exposed to much of the world. He had made his own way down from Soda Springs through Utah and finally to Phoenix for a winter working at a bank. But that trajectory was far too unremarkable for our main character. So along with 5 other young men from BYU, he heeded the call of faith and volunteered as a missionary for a 30-month stint. Preparing for the mission was a crash course in all things Samoa, starting with the language, which Rex had all of 2 weeks to practice from scratch. Then there was the island culture, which was unlike anything Rex had ever experienced. But from the moment he came ashore, the land and its people had his heart. Rex performed humanitarian work in cities and villages all over the island for 2.5 years, serving with distinction in many leadership positions. His eyes were fully open to the world that existed beyond his own, and he understood then that his true mission in life, to help others, would never end. He fell in love with Samoa, and its people never left his mind. Not when he sailed back home at age 22, not when he started Forever Living, and certainly not when he decorated his office. The boy from Soda Springs had taken the trip of a lifetime, and he knew one thing for certain: he would be back.
My name is Harold Green. I first became acquainted with Rex Maughan about 65 years ago. We were in the South Pacific and the Samoan Islands together. I had been there for about 6 months before Rex came, and the day that he came, I can still remember. Him and 4 or 5 other young men came with him, and I recall when the group came to the office where we were welcoming them, I thought, just then even, that is a very impressive guy. I recall that one of the first things that happened after we had been assigned together, we had a motorcycle that they gave to us to get around in the island. And this one day, Rex was, he was the one that got on the motorcycle first, so I jumped on behind him and we were going to take off. And as I did that, I put my arms completely around him, also his arms, which were on the motorcycle. And doing so, his hands turned the gas even more. The motorcycle was running, and through the fence we went. One of our first things together that we were able to accomplish. But I can tell you that during that time, knowing Rex, getting to know him, he was absolutely so impressive. I had never met a person so young that could remember people's names and faces, foreign, if you will, someone, not knowing the language in the beginning, and yet he had such a capacity for doing that. And he learned the language very quickly, and he learned to love the people. I think back of the things that he has done for the country of Samoa, and it is amazing. Saved a rainforest. People were cutting it down, and and they were selling the wood to these people so they could build a school. Rex comes in and stops the cutting down of the trees, builds a school. While he was later in life, after we all came home from our missions, he founded the Robert Louis Stevenson Foundation. He has such a great way about him, and I suppose that that's probably why people has loved him so much. He's going to be missed. There never will be another Rex Maughan.
After returning from his mission trip, Rex took on a new purpose and direction in life. He had taken a break from his education after a year at Utah State, but now realized that in order to reach the new goals he had set for himself and make an impact on the world, he needed an education. He enrolled at Brigham Young University and resumed his studies. It was there that he met another student by the name of Ruth, who needed a little help with her tennis game. Rex was more than happy to give her a few pointers on her serve, and soon the two became doubles partners in life, marrying in 1960. The couple went on adventures together from the beginning, including a water skiing trip that introduced a sunburned Rex to the aloe vera plant. And while it would be another decade plus before aloe became the Maughan family business, it wasn't too much longer before the Maughan family grew. Rex and Ruth moved to Arizona shortly after getting married and had their first child. Todd, Sonia, and Greg tailed closely behind. Fast forward, and 3 kids became 12 grandchildren and 16 great-grandchildren. Rex's family legacy is his greatest accomplishment and what drove him to such great success in business and philanthropy. He included his family in so many aspects of his businesses and knew teaching them the importance of hard work was invaluable. Family was not only witness to his earliest ventures, but essential to its success, and their involvement remained throughout the growth of Forever. This cultivation would continue to be passed down to his grandchildren and great-grandchildren as strong work ethic and perseverance continue to be at the core of Bumpa's life lessons.
On behalf of Rex Maughan's grandchildren, we would love to share some of our memories of our Bumpa. A couple of great memories of him that we've thought about over the last couple days are he used to take pictures all of the time, and he would take them from his chest. He was the original candid picture taker. He had thousands of these pictures, and we loved him for it. As you know, our Bumpa loves Samoa. He took us there when we were children, and we were able to see this beautiful land. We were so lucky to see our Bumpa actually eat McDonald's hamburgers in Samoa. It was amazing. We were very shocked and surprised, but he told us they were better in Samoa. He showed us how to interact with others and how to love those we come in contact with. We are so grateful for his memory, and his legacy will live in us forever.
Rex earned his degree in business administration from Arizona State University. One of Rex's early entrepreneurial wins was a car wash, the first of its kind in Tempe, Arizona. He didn't just buy it, he built it. And for over a year, he and Ruth staffed it and cleaned it themselves until they got profitable enough to hire someone. He later took a job with Mayer Central Building Corporation, developing his exceptional skills in leasing, managing, and the administration of offices, hotels, apartment projects, and resort complexes in Arizona and New York. In his early career, Rex gained experience establishing and managing large conglomerates. He also found a passion for real estate and the relationship between man and the natural world. And while he achieved great success, he never lost sight of his mission and values. As Rex grew his business acumen, he landed at Del Webb Corporation, where he blossomed over the course of 13 years, working his way up to the position of vice president.
Yes, my name is Marv Todd. I met Rex in the summer of 1967 when I was interviewing for a job with the Del Webb Corporation. I was later hired to work for Rex in the commercial division of the Del Webb Corporation, leasing office space. I didn't know how to lease office space, but Rex took me under his wing to teach me. As time went on, and I spent time both in the building office, in construction, and then came back up to be Rex's property manager for all the properties around the nation. Rex and I traveled, and we went to every building and spent time with every manager. And as I walked with Rex and worked with Rex and listened to Rex, I prospered and I grew. Rex really cared about all of our managers around the country and would bring them to town several times during my time with Rex. We would go to Cottonwood Cove. We went to Lake Powell after we got the recreational properties going and spend time with the managers, just communicating to them who we were and what a great organization they belong to. And, you know, you've died and gone to heaven when you worked with Rex Maughan working on that team. It just was good. It was team building, and that was Rex's format. He always made me feel important. Marv, you're doing a great job. No, I can't give you more money, but I can. I'll spend time with you, and you'll be more valuable to yourself when you're through with me than you are now. And I always felt that was the way of it. When Rex left Del Webb, I left very soon after, and I had a whole bag of experience in my pocket that took me on through life. Life After Webb and Life After Walking with Rex for so many years. It was good. It was profitable. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Thank you, Rex. Thank you, Rex. And goodbye.
Rex's passion for health and wellness spilled over into his love for nature and the outdoors, and the two went hand in hand with the development of Forever Resorts, which began as a concessionaire for the National Park Service. Rex made his first acquisitions in 1981. Calville Bay Resort and Marina on Lake Mead and Cottonwood Cove Resort and Marina on Lake Mojave. Through the years, Rex was consistent in his message that we don't have to be the biggest, we just want to be the best. He stayed true to that philosophy while expanding lodging and concessions into some of his favorite places, which happen to be some of America's most well-known national parks, recreation areas, and national forests, including the Grand Canyon, Grand Tetons, Bryce Canyon, Isle Royale, among many others. It was a great joy for Rex to connect people with natural wonders, expanding horizons and opening minds, just as his were on that trip to Samoa in his early 20s.
I'm John Chapman, and the Executive Vice President of Resorts, and I've known Rex for 47 years and started working for him, and with Rex, he liked everybody. He went and talked to everybody. He whether you were a cleaner or whatever your job was, Rex made everybody feel the same, that everybody was important, and he did that so much. And I think our managers and stuff, I see that they follow what he's done.
I'm Bill Butts, and I've been a member of the Forever Resorts team for 25 years. But what I'd like to do now is kind of share an experience that I had with Rex. And any of us know that travel with Rex is, it's never slow-paced. It's a dead run, and you're going all the time. We were back in Washington, D.C. For 3 days of meetings with the National Park Hospitality Association. We were up on the Congressional Hill meeting with congressmen. We were meeting with the National Park Service and with our colleagues. And we were dragging. It was 11 o'clock at night, and we hailed a cab to take us back to our hotel. And my two colleagues that were with me, we all kind of got in the back seat, and we were just exhausted, but not Rex. Rex hops in the front seat, and the first thing he starts doing is he starts engaging the cab driver. Now, this is a cab. This wasn't Uber or Lyft. Not exactly a clean cab either, but he didn't care. He wanted to know about this cab driver, and he starts asking about his family and where he was from. And the cab driver said, "I'm from Nairobi and Kenya." And Rex said, "Really?" He goes, "Have you ever heard of Forever Living Products?" And the cab driver is startled, and he's almost incredulous. And what was more incredulous to us in the back seat is what happened next, because the cab driver grabs his cell phone, and he's driving too while he's doing this, grabs his cell phone and dials a number, and he's calling his sister. And his sister isn't across town. She's across the world in Nairobi. And you see, his sister is a Forever Living Products FBO. And of course, it was just, she screamed. The cab driver goes, "You're not going to believe who's in my cab. Rex Maughan." And she goes, "Rex Maughan." And we could hear it through the phone. And so for the next 10 minutes, the cab driver, of course, hands Rex his phone, and he's engaged with this FBO in Nairobi. And you know, I tell you, that was 10 years ago. And over the years, we have, my colleagues that were in that cab, we've shared that story and laughed. But as I've thought, I said, the real story wasn't the experience that we had with the FBO in that car. The experience was that we had been on the run for 3 days. We were exhausted. And how many of us would have gotten in a cab and wanted to reach out and connect with the cab driver? But that, to me, is the essence of Rex Maughan. He genuinely cared for anyone. He wanted to help everyone improve their health and their well-being, and he wanted them to be happy. And he wanted to do anything he could to make that happy. So, as I close, I just want to say that that was the essence of Rex Maughan, and the world needs more people like Rex Maughan. If we had that, what a wonderful place it would be, because he touched the lives of countless individuals, including a cab driver from Nairobi in Washington, D.C. Rex, we love you.
Rex's passion for national parks and the preservation of their lands started well before he founded Forever Resorts in 1981. But as his company grew, so too did his opportunities to take up causes near and dear to his heart. Rex served as chairman of the Conference of National Park Concessioners for many years. He was appointed by President Ronald Reagan to serve as one of 15 members of the President's Commission on Americans Outdoors, which launched initiatives ranging from the National Scenic Byways Program to the National Greenways Initiative and public-private partnerships vital to supporting visitors to national land systems for healthy outdoor fun. His enthusiasm and experiences made him a leader in that effort. It's true that a part of Rex's heart never left Samoa, and 30 years after he first landed there, Rex made a triumphant return to the island in 1988. This time, he was leading a delegation as chairman of the NPC, and he had a bold idea to establish the first U.S. national park outside the borders of the 50 states. To make his case for the park, Rex addressed an audience of chiefs, orators, and local government officials. The crash course in language immersion decades earlier held strong, and Rex was able to communicate in perfect Samoan the wide-ranging benefits of the project. On October 31st, 1988, the National Park of American Samoa was officially established.
Hello, we're coming to you from the National Mall in Washington, D.C., one of the units of the National Park System. The National Park System attracts 300 million visits every year, and concessioners like Forever Resorts help many of those visits be exceptional. I'm Derek Cranton. I had the fun of meeting Rex Maughan 40 years ago. Oh, the memories. His eyes, his rings, his enthusiasm, his intellect, and his heart. What a wonderful, wonderful human being. In 1983, we had the fun of inviting George and Barbara Bush to camp out in Glacier National Parks. They spent 3 days out there, and Rex was a wonderful co-host. He built a relationship with George Bush that was based upon having a marvelous woman in their lives, Barbara and Ruth, and a deep pride in their families. We had fun, we hiked, we boated, we fished, and we had just a marvelous time. The next year, in 1984, President Ronald Reagan asked Rex Maughan to join me and 13 other people on the President's Commission on Americans Outdoors. We were led by then Tennessee Governor Lamar Alexander, and our colleagues on the commission included Mo Udall and Wyoming's Malcolm Wallop, the CEO of National Geographic Society, and other distinguished Americans. We traversed the country, listening and crafting a blueprint to try to keep Americans associated with their great outdoors. But we continued to work on the recommendations, and Rex came back to Washington repeatedly and met in the Oval Office and the Roosevelt Room and the U.S. Capitol Rex was such a magnificent force in all of our lives. Dear Lord, thank you so much for Rex Maughan. We loved him as a mentor and as a friend. He's left his imprint indelibly on America's great outdoors. Let's turn now to another recreation industry leader, Jerry.
I'm Jerry Gabrey, CEO of Guest Services, a fellow concessionaire of Forever Resorts. Every once in a while, somebody comes into your life that makes a significant impact. And that was certainly the case with Rex Maughan and me. I first met Rex when he was chairman of NPHA. And to me, Rex was larger than life. He had such a command for the room. He had so much knowledge, and he had passion. Rex had a passion for the National Park Service. He loved the competitiveness of bidding on national parks because he felt that it brought out the best in his team. And that in turn meant that the visitors to the national parks were going to have the best possible experience. Rex was deeply loved and will be sorely missed. And with that, I'll turn it over to Howard.
Hello, I'm Howard Feldman, the retired chairman and founder of Van S. Feldman, a Washington law firm. But I want to tell you a story today about Rex, which personifies the individual he was. He called me from Phoenix and said he was flying up to Washington and that he wanted to talk to me. And we had dinner that night. And our friend, that first client we had in the concessions business, had passed away. He had become a very close friend of Rex, and they worked together in the National Park Service Association. He said to me, Howard, I want you to help me. I promised my friend that if anything happened to him, I would take care of his employees. You've got to help make it happen. I said, Rex, in law school, the first day, they taught us that you can't have conflicts of interest, and this is the greatest conflict of interest. I represent both companies and work with the Park Service. He said, Howard, I know about conflicts. I will waive any conflict we have to. You do the rest. Let's get it done. That was Rex, quintessential Rex. So we got it done, actually. Rex purchased the concessions of his friend. It guaranteed the employment of those individuals in those concessions. And the most interesting thing is that the funds that Rex sent to the predecessor concessionaire were used by the very enlightened board, which is a nonprofit, basically as a foundation to build infrastructure projects in those parks. So the Park Service also gained a lot in this transaction. It was a win-win for Rex, for the previous concessionaires' employees, and for the National Park Service. But the story really is that Rex lived up to his commitment. And everyone knows that if Rex gave a commitment, it was the gold standard commitment. Thank you.
The Forever Resorts footprint extends to more than 20 properties in South Africa. Rex was able to combine his passion for land, animals, and people into both a Forever Resort and a hotel management institution called the Forever Academy, affectionately referred to as the hub of knowledge. South Africa was truly one of Rex's most treasured places in the world. After each trip there, he'd proudly show off dozens of pictures he took of animals, including his favorite baby rhinos. Rex expanded into South Africa because he saw the opportunity to share his love for the hospitality industry and the great outdoors with another nation that had so much to offer in both areas. He would help the people there reach their potential through training to grow skills in business, technology, and life. His legacy on the continent lives on through the next generation of highly trained professionals shaping the future of hospitality.
To all our Forever family across the world, we wish you greetings from South Africa. My name is Eugene van Jaarsveld, and I am the Managing Director of Forever Resorts South Africa. On behalf of the entire team, we wish to extend our heartfelt condolences to Ruth, Sony, Greg, Todd, and our entire Forever family in the US and around the globe. Our thoughts and prayers are with each of you during this time. Today, we join you in celebrating Rex's life and the many lives which he touched throughout his time in South Africa. I had the pleasure of meeting Rex for the first time about 18 years ago, when he had purchased all the Forever properties under the Forever Resorts South Africa brand. What immediately struck me was his warm personality, incredible knowledge, and his ability to light up the room with his smile. Since then, we have built up a wonderful friendship over the years, which I will always cherish. Rex was a humble man with a kind and gentle soul who was greatly respected and loved by us all. Rex's love for South Africa and our people was in so many ways exceptional. I have fond memories of his visits to our various properties, and how happy it always made him to see our team, how he would remember each person and greet them by name, and how he always made the time to speak with everybody. Rex was the very essence of compassion. His joy for life transmitted wherever he went, and we have learned so much from him in the past years. It was precisely because of his passion, good humour, and taking time to notice the little things that we loved him so. During the times we spent together in South Africa and the US, I always noticed how Rex was at peace when he was surrounded by nature and wildlife, which he loved dearly. He deeply cared for the conservation of biodiversity at our various properties and made a significant impact during the past 18 years in our country. Today, Forever Resorts, lodges, hotels and retreats remains one of the top tourism groups in South Africa, where local and international tourists from across the world have the opportunity to enjoy the scenic beauty and abundant wildlife in our nature reserves. Rex further made a significant impact through his investment in the Forever Resorts Academy, which assisted students from local disadvantaged communities to gain skills and obtain employment opportunities in tourism and hospitality sector. Given the passion of his life, the scope of his accomplishments, the adoration by many in our country, we will always remember Rex as an icon, smiling and serene. There is a word in South Africa, Ubuntu, a word that encapsulates Rex's greatest gift, his recognition that we are all bound together in ways that are invisible to the eye, that we achieve ourselves by sharing ourselves with others and caring for those around us. In his loving memory, we thank Rex for his immense contribution to South Africa. He will forever have a place in our hearts, and may his legacy live on forever. We love you dearly, Rex, and we will miss you. May your soul rest in peace.
But there was still more to explore. Even though Rex's career was taking off at Del Webb, he had a vision for his own journey. All he needed was an opportunity that would allow him to be in the driver's seat. Enter the world of aloe vera. The seed that would sprout into forever living products was planted one day in 1978 when Rex brought home a tiny bottle of lotion. "This," he said, "is our new business." Rex had expressed interest in the direct sales business model before, but had never found a product he thought would be a good fit. When he came across this bottle, he immediately flashed back over a decade ago to that water skiing trip and the plant that helped him recover from pain. Here was aloe vera popping up in his life again, right when he needed it most. So Rex did the brave thing. He left Del Webb for good in 1980 and focused on selling aloe products out of his garage in Tempe. From the very beginning, he believed he had a revolutionary plan to offer the best consumable products to the public that not only promoted lasting wellness, but it could change personal fortunes. Rex was involved in every area of the company. He designed packaging. He was never afraid to get his hands dirty or boots muddy in the aloe fields. He delivered products and made sales presentations near and far. By 1981, Forever was doing $1 million in sales in 5 different countries, and people the world over were drawn to the man in charge and his principles of kindness, honor, and the willingness to chase ideas on the road less traveled. In 1983, a devastating deep freeze wiped out Rex's entire supply of aloe vera in Texas. Through this difficult season, Rex was determined to honor his commitments to the people who relied on Forever by making sure he never lost any aloe again. He purchased as much land as he could in the weather-safe Dominican Republic and quickly got the business back on track. The growth of new aloe was a perfect symbol for Rex's resiliency.